Hey, welcome back to our lesson called An Outrageous Thing. And that's what we're looking at. It is an outrageous story. And we're looking at verses 7 through 19. So hopefully you've already read that. You know what's going on there. And let's go. So, last we left him, Jacob is home. His sons are out in the field. Hamor, who is Shechem's father, is coming to meet with Jacob to talk about the marriage between Shechem and Dinah. So as Hamor is on his way to meet with Jacob, the sons of Jacob came back from the field, it says. So now his sons who were out taking care of the animals have come back in, and word of what happened to Dinah had made that to them as well. So, man, it really gets around what's going on. But Jacob finds out separately from his sons. The sons find out while they're out in the field. So someone ran out to the fields, or the gossip made it around to them finally. I guess gossip travels, pretty fast in any generation that you live in. But that's what happens. And Jacob's sons are indignant, and they're very angry, it says, when they hear what happened to their sister. So they think it's, this man did some evil stuff. They think he should die for it. That they believe what he's done is a capital crime. And I think God would agree. But what they're doing is wrong. But we'll get into that. So the reason that is given as to why they are angry is that Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel. His action is a thing that must not be done, it says. And they say in Israel, which is interesting. Now some attribute this to Moses, as if this is a narrator's note here that, what happened to Dinah is not something that is to happen in the nation of Israel. So some attribute to that kind of idea that this is a narrator's note. Like this should never be done in the nation of Israel. So when you guys are going into the land, the promised land, you're setting up the nation in Canaan again, this should never be done. What Shechem did, you can't do that. I guess that's a possible answer. Could be. But it also has been, several years since Jacob wrestled with God, where his name was changed. So, since they are a household that follows God, remember, and his ways that have been passed on through the years, starting with Adam and Eve, and they could, be saying that you do not do this to the house of Israel. You don't do this to us. You don't do this in our house. This is Israel's house. You don't do that. So either way, what Shechem had done enraged them. Either way, they think what Shechem has done is evil, and they are going to get him. And they're not going to put up with that. That's it. They're done. They're done. And so Hamor arrives at the tent of Jacob and begins to lay out the marriage contract. He's going to say, okay, here's what I'm proposing. Here's the marriage proposal. And Hamor addresses not only Jacob, but also his sons that are there now too. The word you in his address is plural. So he says to them that Shechem is in love with Dinah and desires to marry her. He invites them to intermarry with the people of the city. He says, the land is open. The land is open to you, Jacob, and your sons. Where before Jacob had only the land upon which he was able to buy to put his tents and stuff. Now they're saying, hey, come on, get married to us. You can intermarry with our city, with our families, and the land. The land is open to purchase. Hey, you can buy real estate here now too. You have, you're like one of us. So they'd be welcome to buy, sell, trade, acquire real estate in and around the city. Shechem, who also accompanied his father, Shechem is there. He is there with the negotiations in this marriage contract. And he speaks up at this point. He tells Jacob and his sons that they can name whatever they wanted for the bride price, and he would pay it. So he's like, no price is too high. I want this woman. I want your daughter. I want your sister to be my wife, and I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to get her. Just name your price. No price is too high. I'm in love with her. That's what love does to you, right? Oh, I love this. I'm willing to do whatever you want. No price is too high. And so that's what he says. Now, verse 13 says that Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father deceitfully. So Jacob's sons are like, okay, we're going to trick this guy. So they lie straight face to them. Now, we've seen this sin happen over and over again in this family, right? Yeah, Jacob lied straight face to his dad. Laban lies all the time, multiple times, over and over again. Rachel lies right to her dad. And now, Jacob's sons lie. This is a lying family. You notice this? This is a sin that is, perpetual through the generations. They lie and deceive quite a bit. I mean, Abraham was doing the same thing. Isaac did the same thing. So you see this generational kind of issue with lying. They keep doing it. And it never really works out well. God always has to intervene and then make things good again. But here we go again. In the wrath, the sons tell some truth mingled with lies, which is kind of how the other ones have gone to in the past. They're right in saying that they cannot give their sisters to someone who is uncircumcised, right? They shouldn't be intermarrying with pagans who don't worship God. In other words, they can't marry someone who's outside the covenant of God. Now, the Shechemites were pagans, right? And not a part of the covenant people, and that would disgrace the nation of Israel. That would disgrace the Israeli family. Now, what they do is fairly blasphemous, I think. They tell the people of Shechem that for this marriage to go through, all the men in the city must be circumcised, like they were. Now, circumcision was the sign that was given by God to Abraham because God's covenant with Abraham and his family, and because of Abraham's faith. Now, these Shechemites do not meet any of the requirements to take the sign of the covenant. Now, they're not saying that they will follow God. Jacob's sons are like, well, you have to convert to our faith. You have to serve the one true God, and come into the covenant family, and you have to. The whole city has to become followers of God. They don't say that, right? Now, circumcision was something that other tribes, other people groups did during that time. It wasn't just Abraham and his family that got circumcised. You have priests who would get circumcised, and for other various vows, people would do this. So it's not completely out of the ordinary. So this would have been like, what are you asking me to do? It's like, okay, you want us to do that? That's cool. You have done that. All right, that we know other, cultures, other people groups around in the area that have done that. So it's not that big of a deal. Now the brothers are, but that's the thing. The brothers haven't told them hey, we're circumcised because we worship Yahweh God. It's like they don't even mention God here and circumcision. They don't mention that the sign that they have in their flesh is because of Abraham's faith and their faith. They don't do that. So they're just using the circumcision sign as a pretense for the evil plan that they want to do. So either way, it's evil. And they're really using this sign that God had said, this is going to be a sign in your flesh of faith, of justification by faith. And what do? They turn it into a way in order to kill people. That is blasphemous, isn't it? But that's what they do. The brothers say that they must be circumcised, then they will intermarry, and we will live in your city and we will be one people. That's what they say. But if all of you don't get circumcised, then we'll just take Dinah and move away. That's what they should have done. Right? They say the right. That's how bad this is. It's bad when you're making this evil plan, you're trying to deceive someone, and you tell them, what you should be doing. Like, you do this, or I'll just go and do this, which is what I should do in the first place. But that's what they do. They know that. So they know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they ought to be doing is just take Dinah and leave that area. Move, go to Bethel. Okay, but they don't do that. So Hamor and Shechem, they hear this proposal, the counterproposal here from Jacob's sons, and they're happy with the agreement. They're like, okay, circumcision, we'll survive that, so cool. And so Shechem runs back to the city and does not waste any time fulfilling his end in the contract, right? He's going to go. He's going to get everyone on board with this plan. He's going to get everyone. Hamor is going to do the same thing. Hamor is going to help everything out. He's going to schmooze people, and it's all going to be good. And that's what they think. And Jacob and his sons are like, maniacal laugh off to the side, because they got him. They know exactly what they're going to do, and they've already told him what they should have done. But they're telling them they're actually, it's like the evil. It's like the comic book villain, He's like, you got to get circumcised, or we'll just leave. And so that's what they do. So that's we'll leave the story here for this study, but very, very interesting. Jacob's sons, man, they're as bad as their father was, right? It's lying, cheating, deceiving, but they do take it one step further, and we'll see that next time. So come back next time, and we'll finish off the story here.